Hi, this is Olga, and in today's video, we'll talk about how to rent an apartment in Canada. On my channel, I talk all things Canada, all things Vancouver, travel and food. So if you're interested in videos like that, subscribe to the channel and let's get started. So where do you look for an apartment in Canada? So personally, I use 3 websites here in Canada. The first one is Craigslist.ca. So it's a super old looking website, kind of as if you log into the website from the 90s, but still it's really good and a lot of Canadians use it. And so you can find a lot of postings there, a lot of apartments to rent, a lot of rooms to rent. So that's the first source of information that you'd go to. Personally, I rented my apartment from the site called Zumper.ca. It is a very nice looking, very high-tech website. You can browse by categories there. You can set additional parameters, like I'm looking for an apartment that has air conditioning, I'm looking for an apartment that has a concierge service, and so on and so forth. Facebook Marketplace would be the place number 3 to go to. So usually the owners post their listings on there and you can rent directly from them. So what do you need to rent an apartment in Canada? First and foremost, you need to have the amount of money set aside for the first month and the last month of your rent. You will pay that money up front. In many cases, the landlords also ask for a security deposit. A security deposit is an amount of money that you put down to make sure that nothing is broken in the apartment. So after you move out, you get this money back. You get your security deposit back. In many cases, the security deposit could range from $1,000 to maybe 50% of the monthly rent. In our case, we paid 50% of our monthly rent. Also, if you're moving in with your pets, the security deposit might be a lot higher. So it all depends on the landlord or the company you're renting from. They will be the ones indicating what's the security deposit for this or that property. Depending on the type of property you're looking at, your landlord could ask for a letter of reference from your previous landlord or from your employer. So in my case, my husband and I moved to British Columbia. We didn't have previous history here in Vancouver, and so we just brought our letters of employment together with the information from our employer. So it is a simple letter. You just go to your employer and you ask for this reference letter. It indicates what position you have, what company you work for, and what amount of money you make per year. Also, some landlords may ask you for a credit score or a credit check. Again, when I first moved to Vancouver, I didn't have my credit history and I didn't have my credit score. So in this case, the letter of employment from my employer worked and covered my credit score. So how do I pay for my apartment in Canada? There are a few options. In Canada, some people still accept checks. Yes, when I'm talking about checks, I mean those paper checks that you just write out a check in the name of the person, of the company that you're renting from, and you give it to them every single month. So some landlords accept the checks. Other landlords accept the payments directly from your debit or credit card. So in my case, I set up automatic payments to my debit card, to my bank account. And so whenever the month starts, on the first day of each month, the payment would be withdrawn automatically. Can I move in earlier and move out later? The answer is yes. In Canada, such thing exists. So the company we were renting from allowed us to move in 7 days before the date they started charging us. And these 7 days would be used for you to move your furniture, to make sure your place looks nice, to make sure you have something in your apartment, because the apartments here are rented out completely unfurnished. Can you have a pet in your apartment in Canada? Again, everything depends on the house, on the type of the building, and on the type of the place you're renting. For example, here in Vancouver, there are a lot of buildings that are basically not pet friendly, which means you are not allowed under any circumstances to have a pet in the apartment. First of all, you have to look at the rules of the building, if they are pet friendly or not, and then discuss these conditions with the landlord. Sometimes the landlord might ask you to put down a bigger deposit if you're moving in with your pet. In Canada, some apartments that you rent, you will have to do a mandatory house insurance for them. So to make sure nothing happens, nothing like an earthquake, a hurricane, a robbery, etc. So in our case, we opted for the insurance name BCAA, and we are paying $72 per month, and our apartment is insured for $3 million. So when we signed the contract, the condition was that this apartment would be insured for $1.5 million. We decided to go with the option for $3 million to make sure that nothing happens, to make sure that in any case we get the insurance. And it is highly recommended, even if it's not required by your contract, it is highly recommended that you get your apartment insured. Thank you so much for watching up till this moment. This was me sharing my experience about renting an apartment in Canada. If you guys have any additional questions after watching the video, please let me know in the comments below. I'd be super happy to answer the questions. And thank you so much for watching, and have a really good one. Bye!